I don't know about you, but I've been obsessed with death recently. What with old age, the pandemic, the time of the year, death seems to be just over there, waiting. Maybe I watch too many Midsummer Murders on TV. I don't know. I know watching the news with the nightly pandemic numbers leaves me sad and depressed. Donna and I did watch a nature show on PBS a week or so ago called My Garden of 1,000 Bees. It's a story of a British nature photographer who was isolated in his home during the pandemic. He started watching and filming the bees in his small garden. He used a special lens and slow motion to slow the bees' flight down so that he could actually see them. It was amazing what he could see when he slowed the action, when he used another type of lens to see. In Marcus Borg's and Bishop N.T. Wright's book, The Meaning of Jesus, Marcus uses the analogy of the lens, the glass through which we see. The Bible is a lens through which we see the action of God in the Hebrew and Christian Testaments. Christ is a lens through which we see the closeness of God in life. One of the 7 signs or miracles in today's gospel, in John's gospel, is the story of Jesus raising Lazarus from the dead. Lazarus was a personal friend of Jesus, and he was really dead. He was buried for 4 days. In Hebrew belief, the spirit left the body after the 3rd day. So on the 4th day, you knew he was gone. So this story emphasizes that he was really dead. Now, I use a skeptical lens when looking at and believing in miracles. Jesus stepping outside of nature and bringing a man back to life is a bit of a stretch for me. I also know that I don't know everything. I don't know all the answers. So I ask, what is the deep truth that this story is telling? Perhaps the answer is in this line of the gospel. Jesus said to Martha, "Did I not tell you that if you believed, you would see the glory of God?" The story is saying to me that Jesus has the power over death. That death is not the final answer for us. There is a future if we follow Jesus and love others. Now, belief is not just an internal action. You know, like when you say, "I believe," and then you go on your merry way. We do have to do something with that belief. We have to change our attitude. Belief means turning around my life and living the way Jesus wants me to. How can I turn my life around and reduce my skepticism and see the miracles of Jesus? How can I change my lens? One way is by listening to others. The National Episcopal Church has an education program called Becoming Beloved Community. Part of this program is for local churches to host reading and viewing groups where we listen to others. St. Paul's hosted a small group last year that reflected together. The program is called Sacred Ground, a race dialogue series. Our group looked at individual family histories along with our national history of people of color. This study opened my eyes to the history of slavery and systemic racism in our country. We are planning on holding another Sacred Ground Circle starting in January and inviting those who are interested. Another study coming up this November is facilitated by Robin Town. It's a study on the presiding bishop's book, Love is the Way. Study and listening to others change our lenses, how we see the world. I love to garden. Spending several hours a day outside is pure heaven. I've always shied away from using poisons to control pests. This last summer we had an abundance of toads in the garden. And I don't think I saw very much bug damage on a lot of my plants. Because I don't poison the bugs, the toads can stay alive. But I live in the desert, so where do the toads come from? Is this a miracle? Or has my seeing changed? I like to watch and listen to birds while I'm in the garden. I don't keep them out. They eat more bugs than they do the plants. A while back I read an Audubon magazine that said if I planted more native plants, I would get more birds and less bug damage. So now I don't pull all the native plants, also called weeds. I let a lot of them exist. The garden looks a bit ragged, but I have more birds. Is that a miracle? Or has my lens of view changed? I attended a prison volunteer meeting last week. The Nevada Department of Corrections is going to start letting us back in to continue our programs to the incarcerated. One thing that the assistant warden said to us is that we bring certain tools in to help the men change their lives. Many inside consider themselves dead to themselves, to their families, dead to society. It's the volunteers' job to assist them back from that grave. So the tools we bring inside are hope and the joy of Christ. With our lens, they can see differently, and it doesn't hurt our worldview either. Is this a miracle? Lazarus died, according to John's story. Jesus brought him back to life. If we look through the lens of Christ, we can see that death is conquered by his love. Is this a miracle? How do you see it?